Today we are using the power of anonymity to peer into the depths of the human spirit. That is right, folks. Today we're asking Reddit. We're going to start off with men of Reddit. What makes a woman creepy? I had a girl that would hop my fence in the backyard and silently watch me watch TV. That's creepy. Look, man, maybe she doesn't have DirecTV. All right, maybe she doesn't have cable. She can't afford Hulu. So do everybody a favor, turn the captions on. Maybe leave out a nice little doggy dish. You know, you're just being a rude host at this point. Damn, was she just like standing there in the middle of the yard? I don't know why, but this bothers me more than the stalker stories. I have no idea where exactly in my backyard she was because I never caught her. What? We bumped into each other at a party about a year later, and she drunkenly casually told me she had been stalking me as if it was romantic. Weird girl, but some of the best sex I've ever had. Okay, so you went for it. That really took a turn. You had sex with her after she said she stalked you? No, before. We dated for a bit before the stalking. Okay, I see what's going on. Yeah, a lot of messiness over here, I would say. Go to my mom's house, tell her that she's my girlfriend, befriend her to the point to where they become best friends, and while I'm deployed with no communication to the outside world whatsoever, and without me ever giving her the address to my mom's house. And only after I saw you twice in my life and only hooked up once. That's so weird to me. When you involve family, like if you don't know the guy and you're befriending his family and you're lying to the family about what y'all are, and that's just so many. I mean, what is the threshold to actually do a restraining order? Because there's no harm here. There's no objective harm being done. Lying about your relationship status and being friends with your mom. There's no physical harm. So at what point are you able to actually get a restraining order? Do you have to prove that you're in danger somehow? Do you have to prove like a threat or something? Yeah, I had 2 ex-girlfriends that befriended my mom. Stuff's weird, especially when I would bring home a different girl and my mom and ex were watching a movie at home. Who? Talk to your mom at that point. Talk to your mom. Be like, hey, I don't care who shows up at your door. Text me first and ask me if I am letting them in. You know, what is that about? That is so weird. Talk to your mom. She's too trusting. Some of y'all got to be less trusting. I'm one of them. I'm a pretty trusting guy. I'll humor somebody for quite a long time, but yeah, dude, you got to talk to that mom. This person says, oh my God, I had the opposite. My then boyfriend, now husband, was deployed for 3 months and his mom showed up to our place all the time, called me incessantly and kept me on the phone for hours. She guilted me into canceling plans with friends so I could hang out with her. Oh, that's kind of sad. So the mom just couldn't handle being alone. When he came back from deployment, she had the nerve to tell him she should really make some friends her own age to hang out with. Went to North Carolina with her a few years later. What? So your mom was lonely and then she's disrespecting you for hanging out with her? That sucks. Come on, ladies, get it together. What is this? The question on that is, okay, now I'm curious. How did you find out? How long was this going on? Why did your mother believe her without asking you? How did you get her to stop? Op says, I found out one time that I finally had a chance to call back home. I asked my mom how everything was, and she said that she had met my girlfriend and that she's cute. I asked her how it happened because I never gave her the address to her house, and she brushed me off. Y'all ain't got safety protocols? You don't have like a keyword? You remember when you were a kid and your mom was like, the keyword is blah, blah, blah. Like if somebody ever has to pick you up and they show up in a van or a car and they're like, hey, your mom is sick. There's a password. There's a password in play. Okay, what is the password here? Mom has been a drug addict since I can remember, and I've never had a good relationship with her. The way that everything stopped was that once I found out, I told the girl that we needed to stop talking. She took it nicely and had no complaints. However, once I came back, I started dating this American girl, and once she found out, she went to my mom and told her that I was cheating on her the whole time. My mom confronted me, which I reiterated that I never dated the girl and proceeded to insult me, and at the time, my partner. She said, I don't want that American girl in my house. You're just like your dad, you cheating bastard. After this situation, I've had no communication with my mom nor the girl. Good job. Look, man, if your mom is siding with a complete stranger over you, that sucks. And I know there's a lot of you out there that can relate. That sucks. This person was able to go no contact, though, so that ain't bad. After the situation, I've had no communication with my mom nor the girl. And just for the record, I was 19 and the girl was 28 at the time, so clearly maturity from her part was inexistent. God, that's spooky. Showing up to my work house, and when I'm freaking shopping to beg me to take her back and forgive her for cheating, it has been 7 years. Leave me the frick alone. Dude, you know what? I'm gonna tell you the truth, all right? Some people really hate rejection. There's a bunch of different ways you can deal with rejection, right? You can take it in stride. You can be like, you know what? Yeah, I guess so. I guess the relationship should be over. Let me get on out of here and try to move on. But other people, rejection is like, you know how your whole life you're told you can be anything you want to be, you can do anything you want to do as long as you put your mind to it, you can have it. There are some brick walls in life. And if somebody gives you a brick wall, for example, you cheated on me, this is never going to happen again, let's just stop. And if you, let's say you're the person who is trying to get back, and you try 3 months later, 6 months later, a year later, and there's no signs of budging, you gotta move on, cowboy. Gotta move on, cowboy. First of all, you did a horrible thing. Okay, no one's gonna lie about that. You did something that was really crappy. Okay, so you hurt the other person. They're wounded, right? They don't want to see you again. And then they're as they're wounded, they're healing themselves back up. And then you think that once they finally heal up, they're primed and ready to go again. No. It ain't like that, homie. There are some realities and some couples are more forgiving. They don't see cheating as like the absolute worst thing you could do as a partner. They don't see that. You know, they value that they've been together for like 20 years and they're like, it's one slip up. I don't know. I'm just kind of talking out of my ass. I'm not going to lie to you right now, okay? I'm under-caffeinated. Moving on from that. I had a woman I dumped show up at my house while I was working to beg for me to come back, crying, wailing, love letter, gifts. It was awkward and uncomfortable, and I was alone. I can't imagine being in the shampoo aisle and suddenly your ex comes around the corner with a wild look in her face. Just knock over your own cart and run the other direction with like a Jackie Chan movie, like Rush Hour or something. It's tough, dude. It's tough with exes because there are so many circumstances where exes do get back together. And who knows, man? Sometimes that works. You can get back together and you can forgive each other and then you can get married and you can be like, you know, you'll be in your 50s, 60s, 70s and you'll be like, you remember that when we went through that rough patch and we actually split up, you know, but then it took that for me to know that I love your mother or I love your father and like we're good now. That is the fantasy, right? That's the thing that plays through your mind, but the truth is, most of the time, you break up for a reason, and then when you get back together, you remember the reason. This is why those country songs about cheating and trying to win her back creep me the F out. They are not romantic. If a woman leaves you because you cheated, she does not want to see you again, ever. And she sure as hell doesn't want you to try to start the courtship over by doing stuff you never did for anyone but the girls you were screwing. Exes are tough. Usually immediately after a breakup, you have like a little fantasy, right? You have a fantasy of, you know, man, I'd really love to get back together with them. You know, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong about their behavior. Chances are, though, you weren't, dude. You got so fed up that the relationship ended. One time I went through a breakup. I was with somebody for 4.5 years. It was a long relationship. While I was away for 3 weeks in China teaching, she left my apartment, bare bones. I had nothing but a mattress and like a jacket when I got back because we lived together. And everything was hers, which makes sense. That was so incredibly painful for me. But the way that I got through that, I was messaging a therapist at the time, and the therapist told me, like, keep a list of the reasons why you wouldn't work out. One example was I knew that I eventually wanted kids, and she didn't like kids. She didn't like that idea. She was never gonna, want to have children, and that was her position. And after 4.5 years, that remained her position the entire time. And so I had a list that I had of reasons why we're probably not the perfect match for each other. And whenever I was doubting myself, whenever I was having trouble, I would look at the list and I would really think about it. And I would think to myself, is the most optimum happy version of myself the guy who settles for this? No, I had to keep doing it. I had to keep looking at that list and maybe make up some stuff to add to it just to like really help me get over the hump. But that's a good way. That's a good way to get over next. Just think about that for a second. It'll help you. It'll help your brain unwind. But you know what sucks, dude? You know what sucks when you're fresh out of a relationship is the dreams. Oh God. I know some of you out there are going through a breakup right now. Look, the dreams will sting a little bit. You're in the dream world. You're with your ex in your dream. You wake up, they're not there. Uh-oh, ouchie! But that's because your brain has all these neuronal connections that it's kind of firing while you're sleeping. You're trying not to fire in the daytime. The brain doesn't want to atrophy, so they fire them at night. God, our brains are wild, huh? My ex-husband still stalks me. He also harasses my family on occasion. One of my sisters just had a run-in with him about a month ago. He will disappear for a while. Just when you think it's over, here we go again. We've been divorced for 33 years. Get a restraining order. Do you not have a restraining order? I'm gonna look this up. So there's a bunch of different situations and different types of restraining orders, but this is just like to get protection. It doesn't say like what had to have occurred You have to make sure you ask for the right one. For example, you would file one type if you need protection from your spouse or ex. You would file another type if you need one against your neighbor whom you've never dated. If you file the wrong type, the judge won't be able to make a decision in your case, and you'll have to start the process over. Okay, not an easy process. Went on a few dates with the cop. She asked me if I was free one night, but I had plans. Driving to a friend's house later that evening, guess who pulled me over? She wanted to know why I told her I was busy when I was obviously free. Pretty creepy in my opinion. Yeah. This guy says, massively creepy. I'd call the cops. But then she'd show up again. Yeah, dude. Oh, that's rough. What did she do then? Did she look you up, find out where you lived, and just like followed you or something? You got to report that, right? Like, how do you report that? This person says, that's legit terrifying. My ex-sister-in-law is a cop. She routinely looks up prospective dates info, like their address and car info, which, by the way, I think we learned this before. That's a felony. I find it creepy as hell. She has said it's no problem because it's all information anyone could find with a little time. Before I went no contact with her, I think I read North Carolina before, but it was no contact. Okay. Before I went no contact with her, she would do a whole background check on anyone I was dating because I needed you to be safe. Your ex-sister-in-law? That's what level of righteousness do you have to where you're like investigating? That's a little bit of a power trip. That's somebody who touched power for a brief moment and now suddenly they cannot let go. It's like being electrocuted on a power pole. Power pole? An electric pole. Electric tower. Pole tower. Men of Reddit, what makes a woman creepy? Showing up at my door at 2:30 a.m. on a weekday, ringing the doorbell and banging on the door because I didn't answer her texts and calls. I was sleeping. This has happened to me before. Literally 1 a.m. on a Tuesday because I had blocked somebody for over a year. Yeesh. It's a weird feeling. It's not a great feeling. I'm not gonna lie. Not the best. It is a scary feeling. In my situation, it ended up fine, but I could imagine in most situations, horrible. I had a girl call me screaming a couple of days after our first date because I wouldn't blow off my other plans to come hang out with her. It was the 4th of July. I hate that. Dude, yo, you know what will make you really attractive? Learning how to take no for an answer. This is true of everybody. Men, women, they everybody. Learn how to take no for an answer. Just be cool with it. Let it roll off your back. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? That's what a cool... Picture yourself as like a cool guy. You know what I'm saying? You're a cool guy. You're walking down the street. These breezes are nice. Oh, yeah, everything's just hunky-dory. You know, and then something happens to you, like an apple falls from a tree. Like you're a freaking Galileo? Who is that? Not Galileo. Who am I thinking of? Newton. You know what I'm saying? You're Sir Isaac Newton. An apple falls down. Boom. Hits you on the head. Ow. It hurts, right? You can either go, ow. No, hey, a tree. Boo, tree. And then throw the apple back in the tree and gnaw on the bark and pee on it. You could do that. Or you could be real cool and be like, dang, that apple just fell on me. That's crazy. Hey, how did it fall on me? And why? So what I'm saying is, be like Isaac Newton, invent gravity. Or to quote a very famous drag queen, water off a duck's back. Years ago, a woman I knew turned up at my home at night and wanted me to let her in. She was unstable, a compulsive liar, and violent, so I said no and asked her to leave. She proceeded to scream and bang on my door for 8 hours. You read that right. 8 hours before the police turned up. How she had the energy? I do not know. I wish I had that kind of energy, man. I want more energy in life. I was yawning a lot earlier in this video. Now I'm a bit more awake. But dude, just to have the energy to do the cardio of banging on an ex's door for 8 hours, man. What kind of reps you got to do in the gym to get there? They escorted her away, but not before she screamed, I know where you work. I'm coming for you. The police then knocked on my door and asked if I heard what she said. I replied that I did and asked what they were going to do, as I clearly had been threatened, and explained how this woman was already well known to the police for violent crimes. I shit you not, they said word for word. Well, we've had a chat with her and told her that if she says that again, then we'll arrest her. She was not arrested, nor was she charged. If she says it again? What kind of shit is that? This was a woman who up until this point had her 5 children taken away from her due to years of neglect and violence, had lost her home due to drug addiction, and was a well-known thief, and also liked to hurt people. What do you mean that last part? What do you mean by the last part? What do you mean she liked to hurt people? What do you mean by that? And she knows where you live. Huh? And the cops were like, hey, I'll tell you what, the cops can be pretty freaking useless depending on where you live. I know this is a big duh for a lot of you, but like here in LA, you can call 911 and you're lucky if they answer. If you live in a more like rural area, you know, you live further out from a major city, that might be extremely surprising to you. But dude, out here in LA, yeah, on multiple occasions, I have called 911 and nobody answered. How weird. That's so weird. All she got for years of abusing her children was a suspended sentence, which is essentially a slap on the wrist. Days later, the police contacted me because apparently I was a witness to her being SA'd, I'm just going to say, on the night she wouldn't leave just outside of my home. I explained what had happened and explained that she is well known for making false SA accusations since she was 12. The officer said he had looked into her background and that he completely agreed with me, but still needed to take a statement. I do not know what happened after that, and they never contacted me again. Trigger warning, but this is just the word abuse, so don't, it's nothing graphic here, but years later, she would be in the news for abusing a dog so badly that she was banned from owning pets. The video was shown by certain news sites. It wasn't pretty. I had the misfortune of bumping into her, and she assaulted me. Luckily, it was in a busy area with security cameras, and she was sent to prison for 6 weeks. Okay, that's not prison, baby. That's jail. Prison is over 6 months. That's prison. Jail is not. For 6 weeks, she would have only been there for 3 weeks due to how the law works in the UK. I know for a fact that she has committed many more crimes, some of which are terrible, but she just keeps getting away with the lightest of sentences. Yes, call the police, but the reality is that some people know what they can get away with and will just keep doing it, easily being able to deal with the consequences. Yeah, that's horrible, dude. The justice system is just so weird. That's why I keep handcuffs on me at all times, so that way I can just chain somebody to a radiator, out here in LA. Upset with the girl for sticking a note to the wall of my bedroom with chewed gum when she left the morning after she slept over for the first time. Wait, okay, so she's stuck. So you guys had a little sleepover, and she thought it'd be a good idea for her to be like, leave a little note. Gross. That's pretty gross, I'd say. I didn't know her all that well, but we liked each other. I still liked her at that point. I just told her the note was nice, but I was not happy to have to clean it up and that I'd probably have to repaint my whole wall because of it. Oh, what? Why was I was thinking this was like a college dorm, which is generally like brick wall type, painted brick. But no, this is, wow. You'd have to repaint your whole wall. Yeah, I guess so. The oils from the gum and the mouth, and if it's regular paint like this stuff back here, yeah, that would cause discoloration. Gross. That evening, she put another note, without gum this time, on the front doorstep of my condo. Didn't knock or do anything to let me know it was there, then hid in her car in the parking lot for hours until I happened to come outside and find the note. It was 4 rambling pages, writing on both sides, briefly apologizing for the gum, telling me she got the idea from a Chelsea Handler book or something. Chelsea Handler, the comedian who dated 50 Cent? Then pretty much professing her love for me for the rest of the note. Okay. Girl slept over for the first time. You didn't know her that well. You liked each other. Then she professed her love for you. As flattering as it sort of was, we'd only known each other for maybe a week. That alone was a bit much for me, but then I saw her car in the parking lot. Walked over there and saw her hiding in the driver's seat with her seat reclined all the way back. Okay, so she was just like... What? Oh, sorry, I was napping. She said she stayed there for hours just because she wanted to make sure I got her note. I think right now the romantic gesture in the early stages of dating, just err on the side of don't. If like a note on the door, a small romantic gesture is fine. I was creeped out by that, but was nice to her about it. I kind of backed off from the potential relationship stuff, but cut all contact with her when she bragged to me about scamming the last guy she talked to out of $400 when she pretended she was pregnant. You dodged a missile. You dodged a heat-seeking, patient missile. God bless you.
You did good, kid. You did good.
It's really funny that she claims she got the idea from Chelsea Handler. What a strange pull, I think. What an odd person to reference. I had an ex-girlfriend try to convince me to murder one of her previous boyfriends. She never said it explicitly. Well, why would she? You know? You can't do that. But she made it abundantly clear what she wanted. Edit, thanks for all the upvotes. To answer the repeated questions, I never knew the guy's identity, so I was never able to warn him, but now I'm definitely number one on her hit list. She blames me for the fact that she lost her house because when we were living together, I was making most of her mortgage payments, and when I left, she couldn't afford to keep the house, so I think that he's probably safe. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, so it's your fault that she can't pay for her own house. Totally makes sense to me. This is like a frog. Like if a frog was a synthesizer. I obviously never did anything to the guy. I know that he was really into wingsuiting, so sooner or later he'll probably end up in a wingsuiting accident that saves her the trouble. Oh god, wingsuiting is so. You ever seen that the video of the flying squirrel people, like Red Bull sponsored folks who just like fly? That's cool. That's so cool, dude. To be able to just fly with your body. But I really do imagine that is probably the most dangerous sport on the planet. It's got to be, right? I mean, based per capita. Gotta be. All right. What choices do you see people making with their lives that you would never make? This comment says, settling for a partner that I'm not all that in love with, just out of fear that I can't do any better. Sunk cost fallacy, rush to have kids, pressure from family and friends, etc. Like 90% of the people I know have done that. It's wild how common it is considering I find marriage so much more terrifying than being alone. I prefer it and always encourage loved ones to try to spend extended time single after a breakup. You get to know yourself in a deeper way, I think. Yeah, dude, coming from a serial monogamist, like I used to go from one relationship right into the next. I took 6 months off before my now relationship, and it was a good time for me to kind of figure out what kind of lifestyle I want to have for myself before bringing somebody else in. Not a bad move. Makes you feel more whole, makes you feel more complete. But on the other hand, I could just be saying that. I actually didn't love it that much. I do like being in a relationship. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. Tomato. Being able to be single is an underrated sign of confidence and having your stuff together. I hate tropes and simplistic advice, but I do believe that anyone who can't be alone shouldn't be in a relationship. I think that's really what it is. I think you have to be comfortable and in a good place to where you're comfy with living with yourself. At that point, sure, have a relationship. I think that's more accurate than just being alone for a long period of time just for the sake of that. Maybe it's over. I think being alone for a long time is overrated, personally. I'm not gonna lie, based on my track record. In response to the original poster, it says, I get so scared of doing that because my mom did this. It got to a point that in 4th grade, I asked her why she was still with my dad because he didn't love her at all. I caught him cheating so many times and she just thought she couldn't do any better. I'm really proud of her. I'm glad she finally divorced him and she's doing so much better on her own and is so much happier. I still get anxious I'm going to get trapped in that cycle, but my partner is so sweet and caring and she completely understands why I feel that way and helps me work through it every day. Ah, that's very sweet. That's very nice. Staying with a partner you hated. I know so many people who married people they just kind of kept dating but couldn't stand. I don't know why you'd legally attach yourself to a person you genuinely disliked out of convenience or routine. Dude, I hate this so much. If you are married or you are in a relationship and you are complaining to me about your partner, I think to myself, or I'll say like, oh, just break up with them then. And they're like, I don't know. Okay, then shut up. Honestly, stop it. What are you doing? Just stop. What do you think is that? What do you think is going to happen, dog? You're sitting there, you're complaining to me about your partner, over and over again. Every time I see somebody, they'll complain about their spouse or their partner or whatever. And it's like, if you're the type of person who complains about your partner any chance you get, you don't think that reflects on you and your ability to manage your expectations or have a concrete dialogue or your ability to choose a partner? You don't think that looks bad for you? If every single time I'm around you, you're complaining about your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend, you don't think that makes you look bad? Because it does. It does. It makes you look bad. Nobody wants to hear that. Oh, God. Oh, what did you do this time? Nobody cares. Fix it, work towards it, or get out. It ain't cute. It ain't cute. This ain't the King of Queens, okay? This isn't a 90s sitcom where you can just be stupid to each other all the time. No, I don't think it's interesting. I don't think it's cute. Knock it off. What choices do you see? Littering. Throwing paper towels on the ground in the bathroom. Yes. I always leave a bathroom cleaner than I found it. Always. 100% of the time. I'm not saying the air quality is great, but it looks better. Yeah, dude, I'm big about bathroom cleanliness, dude. Yeah. Real talk, in my new studio out here in LA, I bought so many Febrezes, and I bought a nice little shelf, and I bought like cushy toilet paper and like a plunger and a brush and all that stuff, when it's not my job to do that, because it's a shared building. But I did that, and I put it in the bathroom because I value cleanliness in a bathroom. I bought a damn air purifier, and I put it in the bathroom. I bought those aerosol beads, those little air beads. I put it in the bathroom. Why? Because I need to have a sanctuary of when I gotta go. Not putting the cart away at the grocery store, parking in a way that prevents other people from parking because you didn't pay attention to the spots. Oh, that peeves me off. I get so peeved about that. You're trying to pull in. Oh, can I make it? No. Why? Because this Mini Cooper has its wheels on the other side of the white line. Why are you taking up so much space, Mini Cooper? Huh? You're mini. Park in the middle. I take pride in my parking. Nothing screams I'm a huge jackass who has no consideration for any other person on this planet or gets my blood boiling like bad parking. LOL. I do, bro. Yeah, I know y'all probably feel the same way, but bad parking, that sets me off. Getting back with their ex like it's going to be different this time. It's not, bestie. And then like a little tee face. Yeah, that's it. You know, we've been talking about that quite a bit. I kind of want to look at this one. This person says, I don't know. Every single choice I said I'd never make, I ended up making despite my best intentions and got punched in the face by karma. So my answer is I will never choose to actively judge people for situations I think I am too smart/good to get myself into, because life has a way of humbling you. I think that's very reasonable. It's very true. Here we are judging strangers on the internet, and I say we, I mean me, but you know what? Maybe you are silently back home. Maybe you're judging me for judging others. I don't know. But this is probably the most correct comment in this whole thread is like, yeah, dude, you never think you're going to park badly, but then you show up to the grocery store and you really got to poop. You really got to go to the bathroom. I don't care how I'm parking. If I gotta go, I will be going 95 miles an hour down the highway, show up where I need to go, and park diagonally across 4 spots if I gotta run to the bathroom. That is an emergency. It's all fun and games until you're lactose intolerant and you had a cheeseburger. What's an adult problem nobody prepared you for? How tired I'll feel all the time? Bestie? Same. I'm gonna try to drink more water and eat better and all that stuff. Get the micronutrients I need. Sleep as much as I can, but dog, I'm tired all the time. What is it? Do you guys have tips? Is it a vitamin thing? Is it a hydration thing? I think for me personally, I think caffeine like has an opposite effect on me. I don't think that's very healthy. How hard it is to meet people / sustain relationships. When you're young, you're constantly surrounded by people your age going through on essentially the same schedule as you. But once you're an adult, it's really hard to meet people in between the daily grind, and even harder to plan things with people you do know because they are also living their own lives. For me, a workaround for this is like taking a class locally. I think that's a cool way to meet people and hang out and do stuff. Whatever that means for you. For me, it's like improv comedy or like, going to comedy shows and stuff like that. I can meet people that way in the line places or whatever. Sketch shows, that's my tribe. For you, it could be painting or like sculpting or I don't know, take a class, cooking class. You could meet so many people taking a class. Not everybody has the money for that. Or join Meetup, join the, a running club, go to the gym. I don't know. An adult thing, how much you have to sell yourself. In my younger years, it was enough to just do the work well because the teacher has to grade your work. As an adult, your boss and interviewers may not even look at it, let alone understand what you did. This person just says, the relentless admin of life. Nobody told me socializing was a life skill and not just an entertainment activity. As an ostracized kid, I always figured I'd have time to figure out how to find decent people. As an adult, I didn't know the barriers I created for myself would impede my daily life and career so much. Things you never think of, like, how am I going to get home from this dental appointment if I'm still affected by anesthesia? Oh yeah, you have to have somebody drop you off after a surgery. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, dude, I think that's also why people who are married generally live longer. It's because their partner can look at them and be like, you're a little different. We should go to the hospital. You have people taking you there in times of crisis or emergency or picking you up from places safely. It's a weird statistic, but it makes sense, I guess, looking at this. Yeah, socializing is a skill. I think take a class, man. Take a class, meet yourself a honey at a cooking place. Go to a Barnes & Noble. Have a little meet cute in the self-help section. Bump into somebody aggressively, firmly. They have to have a bruise for it to count. Dust there is dust everywhere. There is so much dust and it accumulates so fast. Hey, guess what? This was in a video that I did on my main channel, but did you know that human beings shed 200 million skin cells per day? And anyway, dead human skin is a main ingredient in dust. Isn't that gross? Isn't that weird to think about? Think about that for a second. Don't forget to bathe. Realizing your parents are not the person you think they were as you grew older. Actually learning about your parents' interests. Like, it took me a long time to realize that my mom really likes to travel. Her ass is in Italy every other week. That's not true at all. She goes somewhere once a year. I don't even know if I'm supposed to be talking about this, but like now I know my mom is big into travel. She loves dogs and animal rights. I know that now. I didn't know that when I was younger. I never thought about it, because she was busy raising my dumb ass, Being in charge of your own happiness, down to what you watch, eat, listen to, therapy. You are in charge. Totally. That off time, when you're off work, what are you doing? What are you doing with that time, man? For me, I realized recently that I need to play as hard as I work, and I need to separate my work time from my playtime for me to feel like a fully realized three-dimensional human being. Because it's otherwise I'm just an amorphous puppet in the stratosphere. But you know what? What do you guys do for fun? I want to know what you do for fun, for real. Because I need more stuff, and I imagine there's a big theme here in this video today. How can we decompress? How can we have fun? What is the most fun you've had? I need some suggestions in the comments, and you know what? Some people need that too. I'm gonna leave it on that note, but check out the Patreon. We've got longer versions of these songs that you see on here, over there, and there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So yeah, check that out, and tell me how you have fun. Outro.